So you guys, I am so excited that Mira is here. If you guys are able to cut on your videos, I'm sure she would love to see your faces if you can. I met Mira. I heard so many different things about her from Mary Beth. And she just talked about all the things that we had in common, especially when a lot of our uplines left in the middle of the year. And I know that Mira had something similar happen to her. And so we met for the first time at Global Leadership Summit we met at Green Carpet.
Green Carpet, yeah.
Green Carpet in Florida. For a hot second, we hugged each other. And then we were able to hang out a little bit in Chicago as well. So she's a complete sweetheart. She has such an interesting story. She's such a sweet person. I always say she's like a silent, deadly force. She's so humble. But she and her team, let me see if I can mute everybody. She and her team have been like rocking it like crazy. So Mira, thank you so much, so much for hopping on tonight and just hanging out with us for a little while. I'm going to give you a second to kind of introduce yourself and just tell everybody like what you were doing before you found It Works and how long you've been here and all that good stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So I joined in March 2015, and I kind of had developed a career in healthcare before that. I was 38 years old when I joined. I'm almost 42 now, and had started out. I was a lawyer. I went to law school, and was a healthcare lawyer, and transitioned like into the healthcare corporate world. Just kind of burned out on being in big law firms. And so I had like climbed the ranks of like a career that I thought was going to be like, you know, the 40, 50 year career and would be kind of my path. And, you know, by all, like everybody that would look at me would say, oh, you know, she's got it made, like, good job. You know, everything was kind of perfect, but we were secretly drowning in debt. In my early 30s, my then husband had started a business. And so I was the only one with like a stable income. And we started, you know, really putting a lot of money into that business, and unfortunately it didn't take off. And, you know, he was kind of stubborn about it. And we just got more and more into debt. And we were, you know, like pulling from my salary to pay for that, and, you know, just like crazy stuff. And so by the time I found It Works, like stuff that had been going on for years, and we were just behind in everything. My house was almost, you know, close to like that point where they would file for foreclosure, and everything looked great from the outside, but I was like totally hiding it, like completely secretly drowning in worry. And I was the family accountant, I'm the family accountant. So, you know, I'd be the one holding that stress. And so even though I was, you know, at that point, being mom, and having this crazy job working 50 hours a week, I saw a friend post about It Works for a while, and finally decided to join. When I saw her post, she had earned a double diamond, double good bonus on March 27th, 2015. I was sitting in my office and I saw that. I was like, you know, I was just so done with feeling so stressed out. I literally knew nothing. Like I tried the greens like a minute, you know, but and that's not my personality. Like you guys just heard, like I went to law school, I was a corporate, you know, like I'm a very detail oriented. I'm a red green. So I'm half red, half green, very detail oriented person. And I just called her and I said, sign me up. I mean, I literally, I think I had like $200 left on like one credit card that like was freely able to be allocated to something else. And I spent half of that, you know, to sign up. And do you want me to keep telling my story a little bit, Jasmine?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure,
So okay. So I joined, and, you know, like kind of, even though I had that big green side to me, like at that point, my desperation and my why was so big, it totally overcome all of the, like, I need to know everything about everything type feelings. And I just got to work literally from day one. I signed my first 4 customers at a family party. 2 days after I signed, I just told everybody you got to order the greens, because it was like the only product that I knew. And just hustled like all the time. Even though I was working my job, like at night, once my son would go to bed, I'd work my business, and got the Ruby. They had the Ruby $1,000 bonus that month, and I got that. in my first full month. So about 5 weeks after I started. And honestly, that just kind of woke me up to the possibilities of the business. I still didn't know, like, I didn't even, like, Stephanie and Joel Dunn were my ambassador. Like, I'm coded all the way to Joel. I didn't even know who they were. Like, I didn't have any guidance. It didn't matter. I was totally ignorance on fire. And I just kept doing that with not a lot of help from anybody in particular. I just kind of figured things out. And in month 4, I went diamond and got a $10,000 bonus that was then. And then in my 12th month, I went double diamond. And I actually earned the $30,000 double good bonus that I'd seen my friend earn. And that, you know, but the diamond rank really, the 4-month mark, changed my life completely, because all that stress, you know, that big, nice big diamond check with the bonus really started being able to carry stuff off. So that's kind of how I started. Do you want me to stop there for a minute, or do you want me to keep going?
No, I mean, if you have more to say, go right ahead, because
okay.
I want to dig in a little bit more of, like, because I know you have a big local team, and I know there may be some people here that really want to explore, you know, belly to belly. So I want you to talk about that. But go ahead and share what you want to share.
Well, let me just, I'll just kind of carry you guys through my 3.5, almost 4 years, and then you guys can ask any questions. So, so that was kind of my first year. Like, I was totally ignorance on fire. And all that, but I was honestly, like, again, out of like desperation and, you know, kind of just hustle, pulling a lot of people along that didn't necessarily want it as bad as me. And at that time, I wasn't necessarily a great coach. You know, I really imposed my vision on everybody that came in, and that was the red side of my personality, kind of pulling them along. And so a lot of people, you know, just because the expectations were sort of all that we were all going to run, but people wanted to go at their own pace, or their goals weren't as big as mine, or their why wasn't necessarily to, you know, pay off tens of $1,000s of debt. They just wanted to have something small and extra. I didn't create a lot of comfortable space for people to be like that in that first year. And so a lot of my first team faded. And so my second year was really about me growing personally and understanding, as I eventually would lose double diamond and go back to diamond, that, you know, everybody's different. There's so many different reasons to get into the business. And I just really honestly did a lot of personal development, learned a lot about leadership, because I knew that was a gap, and ended up towards the end of that second year recruiting what would be my first real strong runner that wanted as bad as me. And so when you hear the end of my story and how much I'm making now and I'm presidential diamond, I want you to hear that my first real runner that came in that wanted as bad as me when I was 20 months in my business. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so you never know. And so this woman, Erica, she, I didn't even message her. She came off of just, you know, a cold market. And I only work on Facebook. So I had, I post my story on Facebook about the business, and she hit on that. And her story was that she was a teacher that really wanted to go back to work after her second baby. So she's looking for something to work at home. Anyway, so her why was really big. We clicked. She lived literally 3 minutes away from me, which is kind of what your Jasmine was saying. That started my real push around building locally. 3 minutes away from me. Our sons were the same ages. We really clicked. And then she was like the first person where I had somebody really run with. So for the beginning of my third year, we just really built up Erica. I just really focused on teaching her and teaching her team and helping her recruit a friend and build her up. I did a little bit to get my double back, and then finally did get it back. But it was a lot of just really honestly me learning how to lead and coach and bring all these people along that were hungry. And then in that whole year, while I was flirting back and forth with double and diamond, I was going through a divorce. And it was a really tough situation. You guys heard about our financial problems, and, there was no meeting of the minds. And that really, at age 40, I was not willing to keep drowning in debt forever. Just to let him, follow a passion, and end up being that we divorced in August of 2017, and that ended up being the turning point of my entire business in some ways. All of that negativity and stress and toxicity, and everybody has different things that can bring that in. You can lose a family member, or some other kind of stress that happens. That had kind of thrown me off for a long time. But I was prepared in that moment once that divorce went final on August 22nd, 2017, for something new. And I really did feel like, honestly, like something lift off my shoulders when that divorce went final. And then 2 weeks later, Mary Beth Dodd entered my life. And it was just like a really, like, it was kind of that God moment, you know, like something happened. So what had happened was we had never done any kind of local event. And I do want to talk about this because it's been such a huge part of what's brought me along. Nobody had ever done a triad in Maine. So we had doubles and triples, but none of them had really just stepped up to do it. And then they faded a bit in 2016. And so Stephanie Dunn had told Mary Beth, I don't know if anybody heard this at Green Carpet, because Cammie was referencing it, you need to do something, the FDRs need to do something in Maine, because there's nothing going on there. And so Mary Beth came and did the first triad on September 8th, 2017. So 2 weeks after my divorce, and we met. I took her out to dinner. Like I was kind of the host of the Welcome to Portland, you know, like that kind of stuff. And for whatever reason we clicked, but she really got me and she understood what I needed. And throughout September, she was really challenging me. I don't know how much you've heard of this, Jasmine, but she was in my kitchen. She's like, why are you still a double? What are you doing? You know, it's everybody who knows Mary Beth knows she's really sweet, but with red personalities like me, like I need somebody in my face a little bit. Like I do really well when people challenge me. So she's like, finally, like we had there was an event in Nashville, Benny Boot Camp in Nashville that a lot of people went to at the end of September 2017. And at that point, you know, she had been kind of mentoring me for a few weeks. And I remember this is one of those huge moments for me. I walked across the stage when they were recognizing reigns, and they did the double diamond, and I walked off, and I was walking through, and she said to me as I walked through, she said, I never want you to walk on the stage as a double diamond again. I was like, what? Now, remember, at this time, I was getting paid as diamond a lot, you know, like I was going back and forth. But the combination of her really pouring belief in me, challenging me, I had some other really great people enter my life sidelines, you know, through a couple of the events that month as well, that were pouring a lot of positivity. You know, your environment matters so much. And that really woke me up. I was like, you know, I really had always thought I was never going to be more than double diamond. It was my goal when I entered the business was double diamond. Granted, again, I wasn't stabilizing. And I just realized like this, you know what, like I'm the one that's boxing myself in. Like I'm the one that's saying that this is all I'm going to do. And I think I'm ready for more. And everything that at this point, again, I was 2.5 years into my business. And I say that because sometimes it takes long to really have an aha moment. And my mindset shifted in a matter of 3 or 4 weeks. And I decided that I was going to run for it. And I can get into the strategies I did. I took a very, I said, you know, for me to go from a diamond to a triple, I need to focus on recruiting. So I'm not going to go into the weeds on everything I did. I can, but just for the purposes of not talking too much right now, I started recruiting like crazy. All I did was think about recruiting. And that helped me go from a diamond to triple charted in March 2018 in 6 months. So it took me 6 months of like just hardcore. My mind was locked in and I just did it. And then, you know, my speed started getting matched by the new people I was bringing in because I was like, I'm going, you know, and so more people were catching the vision. I was much better at vision casting at that point. And then March 2018, I went triple. I was working full-time all throughout this. And I have primary custody of my son. So, you know, 6.5 days a week, he's basically with me. So this is single mom time, working full-time, all of that. I still got to triple in March 2018. And so I can talk a little bit about that, but it was all, honestly, it all started with a big mindset shift of not boxing myself. And then this year has just been crazy. I ended up, once I hit triple, I realized I could actually retire from my job because I've been banking a lot of the money from the last several months before that, you know, now that I was able to control my own finances. And I could go full time, and it works. And so I retired in June, gave my notice, retired in June. And then like the company has just been so generous this year. The rank ups came out, $49 kits, $20 kits. And so my team has absolutely exploded. I personally went from not necessarily a mass enroller, just a consistent steps to success person, maybe once or twice. Now I've become a mass enroller with all these promotions and having a little bit more time. So, it's been crazy. It's like 20, 30 DTs a month, many of the last few months. Hit Prez in September, and now I'm charting for ambassador. But, the biggest thing is that mindset shift. I went all the way from I was paid as diamond, and my dad, who's like my family leg, was paid as a ruby in January 15th to now presidential for myself and triple for my dad. So that ended up being we've earned a total of $55,000 in bonuses and a total paycheck of $24,000 because my dad lets me keep most of that money. So just think about that. Literally I added a zero to the paycheck from a diamond to that. And that was just in 10 months. And there are a lot of great factors why, but one of the things I want to reinforce, Jasmine, is I'm not necessarily special, but I was real open to a lot of lessons. And once my mind shifted and my action followed that mindset shift, like the whole world of this business opened up, and it's changed my life. I mean, the amount of money coming in right now, I'm like, I don't even know what to do. So it's just such a blessing. Anyways, I'll stop there. That's a lot of detail.
No, that was so good. I love that. And I love that you kind of took us through the different seasons so that everybody can really understand that sometimes, it's really easy to look to the left and to the right and to compare. Or you may see one person that just went ambassador in 8 months, but you have to trust your journey. And I love that you talked about, the season of you going through your divorce. And one thing that you didn't say is that you gave up. We know that you didn't give up. You kept working through that. And then even now, I know, there are so many single moms on our team too. And just really knowing that you can make it work. And I just love it because your attitude is just no excuse. There's no excuse. It's just, what do I want to do with my life? This business is right here in front of me. What am I going to do with it? And life is going to happen. So what am I going to do about it? So thank you so much. I really enjoyed that. I know the girls enjoyed that too. And Mary Beth came into my life at a perfect time too. I didn't really understand at the time, but she came into my life right before the mass exodus, like right before that. And it's been such a blessing to our team. And she is super sweet, but she also will get up in your face. And we all need that because I'm a red too. So I love to be challenged. Like, I love for somebody to what is it that you're doing? So I totally understand that. So let's talk about, okay, so there are so many different things that I know. You guys, if you all have questions about anything that, I was going to call you Mary Beth. Mira said, Mary Beth must be talking about one of us, that she said, put it in the chat. Do you want to know something maybe about, I'm sure it's probably some of the things that I have written down here, but let me know what's standing out to you all. What do you want to ask? Is it, how did she mass enroll those DTs? How did she mass enroll her LCs? She says she runs a business completely through Facebook. What does that look like? She's working at home as a single mom. What does her schedule look like? And duplication, if you're signing 30 DTs a month, what does duplication look like? So those are the things that I'm thinking. So let's talk about scheduling first. Can you let us know like how you organize yourself, Mira, from day to day?
Yeah, totally. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about like back in the day when I was working full time, because that's probably going to resonate a lot for you guys. And that was just through June. So it wasn't that long ago. For me, I wasn't able, there were pockets when I was able to be on my phone at work. I have plenty of team members where that's not true. So I was able to at least kind of, as my team got big, honestly, a lot of it was about the team. As the team got bigger, I was able to like answer some questions and stuff like that from newbies during the day. But most of my income producing activities would happen at night. And from the beginning, even when I was doing great in the beginning, you know, relative to being a newbie, I really worked at night for the most part. So I would put my son to bed. I've been always real disciplined about making sure he goes to bed at a decent hour. Like even now at 5, he's going to bed at 8, or that's it. You know, so that gives me that window. Like, you know, we were talking before we recorded that, you know, I'm not a night person, but if I'm in the thick of signing a bunch of people and all of that, I'll stay up till 11 or midnight. You know what I mean? Like, so that's always been my time. But when I started, it was a lot of like 45-minute to 1 hour power hours after Camby, my son, went to sleep. And I was always really disciplined about that. And I think, you know, again, that was something that I just knew had to happen because it wasn't going to happen any other time. So I think one thing that, you know, that I always coach is like, when is your routine time that's going to happen? You've got to like, just make that power hour happen. Mm-hmm. Even if you're tired, if you have a significant other, you've got to negotiate with them and say, look, this is my 1 hour to build this business for our future every single day. And for me, again, that's always been at night, but there's people that it could be at 5 a.m. It could be, you know, if you're a stay-at-home mom, it could be, you know, nap time. Lots of people on my team, but I really believe you got to find 1 hour a day or 2 30-minute blocks or whatever it is to really invest in your business if you want to go far. Now, of course, once you get up to like a high double or a triple, you've got so many team members and they need attention. So, I mean, it definitely gets more hours. As my paycheck went up and I climbed the ranks, and I was, you know, the last year was, I won't lie, Jasmine, it was very hard on me. I mean, I was not sleeping very much, but I had a vision that I was going triple. Mm-hmm. And then I needed, you know, I even after I went triple, I worked full time for 4 more months. So, you know, imagine, you know, coaching a triple team, building a triple team with a full-time job. It was crazy, but I did, you know, until I was about that rank, I really felt like I could kind of juggle it all by just being really intentional at night. And that's kind of how I did it. I think it's also really important, you know, as you get bigger and bigger and bigger, you've got to really protect your income producing activity time. And some of that is developing layer leadership. So I had on my team, some of my top leaders are stay-at-home moms. So they had more time, like in fits and starts, to answer questions. Those leaders would be the go-to people for like questions when I was at work. You know, like if you don't know how to deal with an LC situation, you reach out to Trisha or Erica or whoever. And, you know, then as the team grows, there's more people like that. So I think just working with your leaders to understand but honestly, they would actually not be great at night. So we would be able to kind of like work together, layer leadership, who's handling what, without being super strict about it. But I think that was important too, for it to be really functional the last few years. Now that I'm full-time, to be honest with you, and people say this all the time, I have to make sure I actually get my work done. Because like I can go all off and do fun things, stuff like that. So I actually program in my phone 3 power hours right now. One is Facebook, like interactions, adding friends, just kind of network stuff. The second one is, the second hour is PDTs, and the third hour is host to post. And they're in my phone at specific times while my son's at school.
I love that. Say that again. You said engagement?
Yeah. So the 3 hours that I have programmed on my phone, they're literally every single day, is networking. And like, you know, like Facebook friends, birthdays, you know, kind of have a short list of like different networking things on Facebook, since that is my primary tool. The second hour, I have, you know, space in between them just so I can go do other things. The second hour is PDTs. So that's writing them, following up, you know, developing that. And the third one is host to post, which I usually do, even though I'm so business opportunity focused, I have found that I really like doing like LC host to post, because it's just, there's so many ways to recruit out of that, and you add so many people to your network. I have been finding that the DT host to post, a lot of people don't understand that it's MLM or direct sales, and they kind of shut down about that. But the products ones, like you can close people, like they understand, they're looking at a product, and you don't have to go through a lot of explanation. And then from those product host to posts, I've been signing a ton of distributors. So they've been joining, maybe some ordering or not ordering, but interested in the products. And then they see my business opportunity stuff, and that connects, right? Especially with the $20 codes. It's like such a no-brainer. Or recruiting the hosts to say, I'm getting like 3 customers from your post. Or I even saying I have 2 people interested from your post. I'll use that as an angle. What do you think about the team side? So I've been using host to post products, but then using that to honestly build the team as well.
Okay. Very, very nice. I love that. Thank you for sharing those 3 power hour focuses. I like that because I know when I do my power hours, I'm focusing on like, I gotta sneeze. I'm focusing
I keep
on like
coughing. I have a horrible cough.
What'd you say?
I keep coughing. I'm sorry. I have a horrible cough.
I hope you feel better.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. I don't know what's going on with me. I'm not sick. I don't know. Maybe something's just in my nose. But I usually will do like all of these things in 1 power hour. But I love how you do, them very focus driven, and you're kind of focusing on one thing. So thank you for sharing that. The girls love that too. Christina, make sure that you have your audio turned on. I don't think oh, she can't hear me. Why am I talking? She can't hear me. 1 second. Make sure your audio is turned on. Okay. So the next question, Burgundy had a question in here. She said she loved tips on your push to triple. It's been a beast for her. She was at Global Leadership too. She's my cousin. I don't know if you remember her or not.
Ew, yeah.
And she said, how do you train or onboard your new DTs?
Yeah. So for triple, and I did a Zoom that I can share with you, Jasmine, as well. That talks a lot about my tactical strategies, but I'll repeat it too. But just it has a lot of things in there about how I help my team promote or how I drive promotions myself. Okay. But in terms of, so for me, honestly, Burgundy, and I do remember you, hello. For me, what I realized, and I said this a little bit earlier, is that I had to recruit to have the manpower to get there. I mean, triple is just so different from double, where you can kind of like, and very different from diamond, where you can kind of bootstrap your way there if you have like 1 good leader or 2 good leaders that are really ready for that level of rank. Triple, you've got to have so much firepower in 3 legs. And I just realized I had to recruit. I looked at my team and I said, I've got a great leader here, I've got a great leader there, but I need to recruit more in. And so I just, like I said, I was hitting steps of success in those 6 or 7 months that I was building triple, more like 3 or 4 times. And everything I did was recruiting focus. I didn't care what my rank was at the end of the month, whether it was diamond or double. I didn't worry about BV. I didn't worry about any of that stuff. And the other thing I did during that time is I really stopped hand-holding and building people. And instead, when I found somebody that was great, I coached them how to be great. I didn't just like throw a bunch of DTs under them and say, yay, you're a diamond because I built you, So I think sometimes it takes a little while to get there, but I really would do a lot of coaching with the leaders and go into the duplication. I think somebody asked about duplication as well. And that really made a difference because historically I was just building people. I build them all the way to diamond, whether they were ready for that rank for real or not. But I'll make sure to share that with you, Jasmine, so you can share it with your leaders, because it's, we actually had that be a Ruby and above, because it's kind of like really detailed tactics. In terms of, yeah, no, I'm happy to do it. So in terms of onboarding, so I have, and you guys might have this too, I have a special team page for new distributors, and they have to go through like the starter videos that just explains what the loyal customer is and your first goal of getting 4. Now it's 5 loyal customers, and some real basic stuff around promotions and steps of success and all that. Like just so they're familiar with the vocabulary, they have to go through that until they are pulled into the main team page. And when they finish their videos, we do have your first 10 days of suggested posts, starting with some sample intro posts. Again, most of my team tends to be on Facebook. They dabble in IG, but since it's so funny because I'm a Facebook person, like most people just do follow that path like I have done. And so anyway, so we got the first week of suggested posts. And so from there, you know, like I'm sure like you guys have, we have, you know, all sorts of sample scripts and, you know, the product summaries and all of that. The one thing that I added that really has made a huge difference the last 8 months is, and this is something more, Jasmine, I can share more with you about as well, is once somebody gets their 4th or 5th loyal customer, and I've actually dropped it down to 3 sometimes, I actually have a separate recruiting and Ruby training I do. And that is a virtual Facebook training. So somebody that is and it took me 3 years to develop this idea. But what I realized was most of us have great newbie trainings, but what about teaching somebody how to do a lifestyle post, how to do a why post, how to tell their story? You got to teach them that, because most people's instinct when they're going to start maybe building a team is to pull like these really ugly graphics from 1982 that says, who wants to join my team for $99 that they pull off of like Google Images. And, you know, they don't know that no, your story is what's going to be powerful, right? The emotion of what you are doing to change your own life is what's going to be, you know, attractive and relatable. So, so I started this recruiting and Ruby training where I go through just a week-long training of, first of all, learning what is a lifestyle post and why is it so powerful? What's a why post? What's a payday post? You know, what are the kind of posts that you want to do? What are the kind of posts you don't want to do? And then the second half of it is, how do you message people? What are the kind of, things you want to think about, in terms of who you're writing? And of course, the answer is you want to write everybody, right? But you got to teach people not to prejudge. And so we kind of go through that over a week, just to really train the mindset. It's not great question. It's not recorded. It's actually just a messenger chat. And I just have like some content that I repeat for each one. But it just, so that's been something that's been a next level of duplication. So now I have, when we started getting these great people in with the $49 deal in April, that's really where I've formalized this. And suddenly I had some girls coming out of that building Ruby or Emerald within their 2nd or 3rd month because they were taught how to do it. Mm-hmm. Whereas historically, we didn't really teach them that. They just kind of had to watch the leaders and be like, oh, I'll post like them, So that armed them with information, and that has been a huge game changer as well. So those are the 2 steps I use to train newbies.
I love that. Yeah, we'll have to talk about that a little bit more in detail. I would love to see how you do that through a messenger chat.
Definitely.
Cool. Awesome. So y'all are quiet. Y'all make sure y'all put your questions in here if you have some. Trinita said, what does vision casting look like for you? You talked about vision casting.
Well, if you're going to, for anybody who doesn't know what that is, it's basically talking about the vision for yourself, for the team, for maybe an individual person that you're working with, and really helping them see it and believe it and ultimately live it because they see it and believe it. And so, again, when I started, I had my why and my goals in here. I wasn't necessarily telling my story, right? So that's partially just telling your story is going to inspire people and help them catch a vision for what they could do themselves. But vision casting is saying, what we're going to do together, or me talking to a double right now and saying, you have triple, you are triple, like it is going to happen, and helping people basically believe in themselves, maybe reprogram around any blockages they have and see that they can go somewhere. So honestly, Burgundy, a lot of it's just, I do a live training in my team page every Sunday night. Like we just pick a topic. It's often focused on newbies or whatever promotion's going on at that time. But I also use that to vision cast. So I'll always be talking about, this team's going ambassador, or if I've got this huge leg that's like going for promotion, like, Erica's team's going triple, you guys are amazing. And then we do it as a team. We don't talk about individuals, right? It's not like Mira's going ambassador, you know, so we talk about doing it together and the pride in that, of doing it together. And then individually, I use it in coaching all the time. So I'll be talking to, you know, maybe a Ruby about going diamond, and just say, you know, you so have this, you are going to be done. And just really helping them with that. We're about to do our first leadership training, and that'll shift it a little bit, because it'll go outside of just me talking a lot. And we're really going to be doing a lot of exercises where they pull out their own dreams. And it's not just me feeding so much. My leaders are ready for that anyways, but I just mean like some of the newer leadership will be going through that for the first time.
Very cool. Thank you for sharing it. That's really good. Okay, so let's see. I have so many things written down here. So what are okay, no, I got another question first. We'll save that one for last. How do you keep dreaming? So you talk about how you continuously are, you know, you're moving up in your business, you're doing well, you're making this large amount of money that you didn't even come here for. How do you continuously dream, and what impact does that have on your team as far as continuing to dream bigger over and over again?
Yeah, I love that question. It really does start with the top, right? If you're not dreaming bigger, you know, nobody else is going to be. So for me, like when I hit triple, definitely there was like I feel like I went on a victory lap. And when I hit presidential, I kind of felt the same thing happening, but at that point I had gone through it once. So I was like, just fine, take a couple weeks, like enjoy it. But I have to be honest with you. I feel still a why that is still burning in me, because, you know, I think it starts with that, right? My why, that was the why that kind of helped me go triple, is still here, because I still feel like, yeah, my paychecks are great right now, but I'm 42 years old almost. I've got a almost 5-year-old. I've got to provide for him for a lifetime. So I'm seeing this as, how am I going to build this into a lifetime income where I have, you know, I've really paid down most of my debt, but I don't have a lot of savings. So I still feel that burning. And I guess the best way to put it, and I think a lot of people understand, is I don't feel financially safe yet.
Right.
And so for me, I'm like, no, I want to build until I'm safe. I want to build until I'm safe. So really, you know, I have a goal for how much savings I have in my bank account, how much I'm making per year, how big the team is, so that, you know, like the Carla Burns or the Duns of the world, you know, they can go to Africa for two weeks, or, you know, go on a cruise. They're not worried, you know, like that residual income is solid. So, so for me, definitely, you know, and I have big goals that are just hardwired because I don't feel safe. But when definitely when I hit double, that's when I struggle. I feel like everybody finds a place when they struggle. So I haven't struggled so much the last year, because I still feel like I have a lot that I want to do. What I would say about it is, you've really got to go back to your why, and your why might change. And sometimes it takes a couple weeks and some meditation and some praying and just thinking to get there. And that's really what happened to me during my wake up time, and that, you know, in September 2017. And I want to use this business to feel safe. You know, I want to use this business so that my son never has to worry about money like I did for, you know, 15 years. Yeah,
you're trying to change the generation, right?
Correct. Yep.
Very cool. I love that. That was very good. So when you talk about, okay, so I have two questions. I'll do the first one. When you say a runner, what does a runner look like? Let's talk about that for a second. What does a runner look like for you? Somebody who you know is just like, okay, something's really special about her. What does that look like for you?
Great question. Usually sorry, my battery light is on. So usually they're the ones that, you know, start really quickly. You sign them, they're getting through training within a day or two. They're off to the races. That's not always the case. Sometimes people have different reasons for starting, you know, maybe a week or two after they sign. But From there, they're just enrolling themselves. Like they're just throwing millions of questions at you, like from customers, and like they're really just taking care of themselves. And I think if I had to define it, you know, it's not about a number of enrollments, but it's about an independence and entrepreneurial mindset of just, I'm going to build this business. They may ask you a million questions, but they're just going. So it's that independent entrepreneurial mindset, and then doing the, doing the actions necessary for that.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does. Perfect. And then when you were in, I always think about, like, I promise this image will never leave my mind. Do you remember when you were pushing for Prez and you had like this box of some type of food?
Yes. It was Pop-Tarts.
Yeah, it was Pop-Tarts. It was like, I got my snacks for the next week or whatever. It was like, hey, I'm going all in.
Yeah.
I'm so focused. I'm ready to push for this. So, you know, this month, at the beginning of the month, we made a decision to make this month a month of promotions. This is
that's awesome.
Month. Yeah, and we're just ready to go. But I would love for you to talk about, for them to be able to hear it from somebody else. Can you be real and talk about what that looks like?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is something that I want you guys to hear this. We've had enormous promotions on my team since February, coming out of the conference. In February, I got my dad from Ruby to Diamond. We had like 3 or 4 people go Emerald. And from there, we've had people promoting. We've had multiple Diamond, double Diamonds, triple, presidential every single month. It is a lot of work. So I know this is the kind of the, sorry, my phone won't stop here. So this is the real deal. Once you guys have made that decision, this is what I say to everybody: you work until it's done. And you have to, I mean, again, that green mindset, I know exactly what I needed to do every single day, like what box I wanted to fill, you know, how much BV different people had to get, all that stuff, that were the leaders to cover. And so once you know what you have to do, you have to work until it's done that day. You know, obviously, if you have a bad day, you have a bad day, but it is that mindset of like, really, it's less of a process. So have you heard of process measures versus outcome measures? So process measures is, oh, look, I have a checklist and I did it. You have to go then to the much tougher mindset of outcome measures. Like there has to be the results every single day. And every time that we've gone for major promotions, so my triple month and my Prez month, we were only 80% ready. I want you guys to hear this. I needed 14 distributors the month I went Prez to chart, and I needed 15K BV. I got 5K myself personally in new LCs the last 2 weeks of September. When I went triple, I took the last week of March off because I said I'm going to work, and I worked probably about 14 hours a day. I slept with my charts in my bed, but I was not going to fail. And in turn, that, my team felt the same way about their promotions. We were totally together. And the thing is, magic happens that last week, but you got to set it up. Mm-hmm. You got to set it up by action all throughout the month, knowing exactly where you want to be that last week, especially with Thanksgiving. You're going to have a couple of days that are going to be off. So I'm so excited that you guys made that decision. So the biggest thing I'd say is just really organize by like day, or at least by week, like how much BB is each person getting, or we'll assign boxes. So if I had a double diamond, I'd be like, why don't you take that box and get it to 400? I'm going to take this box and get it to 400. And then we'd set deadlines. To your point, Jasmine, I was a freaking wreck the last week of triple and the last week of presidential. Wasn't sleeping, didn't stop working. The last day of Prez, I needed 1,500 BV. And that wasn't like, oh, I could just buy it. That was like, even accounting what I could buy, I needed 1,500 BV on the last day. I was about ready to throw up because it was like, if I miss this, I'm gonna feel terrible. So upshot is that, get ready for it, because it is going to be intense. It's really, I tell all my leaders, you got to talk to your significant others. If you're a single mom, you've got to prepare childcare, and then just go, and don't stop working until it's done. But when it's done, you're going to feel amazing. And, for rubies and executives, on the phone that maybe if you were going for those, don't worry, it's not quite this intense at that level. But for those of you going for double, triple, or Jasmine, you're going for Prez this month. So I'm hoping so. So that obviously gets really intense, and that's just the honest, that's the truth. And as Jasmine was saying, I literally had a can of energy and a huge thing of literally the family size of s'mores Pop-Tarts. And I would sit in my office, and that's just what I ate half the time.
Yeah, I remember that picture. I was like, oh my gosh, Mira she's so funny. And I love that. I love that because you had a goal. And I remember when I went triple, that was literally like, okay, so May 30th was my last day of work. I had put in my resignation, and May 31st, I went triple diamond. I was on the phone with Alina, like in tears. People were calling me. I'm like, don't call me. I'll call you. If your box is complete, do not call me right now. Like, it was so intense. If Burgundy said that triple is a beast, it is a beast. Oh my God. It was the hardest promotion ever. But once it was done, it felt so good. And I was like, oh, okay, well, it was all worth it. So promotional months are hard. They look different than any other month. It's so many sacrifices that are made, but it's so worth it in the end. So I'm excited about that, about this month and us all, everything just coming together. And even during that time, I remember one of our diamonds, she needed like 3,000 or 4,000 to go diamond that month, and she got it. And it was so crazy how everything comes together. But what you said was so key, is that you have to put in the work early on. You can't show up the last week of the month thinking that everything is just going to fall in your lap. You know, it's a daily, we talk about that a lot. You know, it's a daily decision.
Jasmine, the one thing I thought of that I didn't tell in my first story as well, if it would, like, I don't know if you want me to share this, but the reason that Jasmine and I got linked together was the month that I went triple. So I have a local team, right? Very locally built. All of my local uplines left for another company and tried to steal my team. The very month I was trying to go triple. And I just want to say, like, everybody that stayed behind, like, all they say to me is like, we're so excited that we stayed behind, because those folks are dealing with a lot of integrity issues and weirdness. We got really stronger out of that because we really had each other, and we had that real strong bond, and they're all promoting. So, you know, it sounds like your team's in a really similar situation. You know, we're a family now in our group, like a lot of very, you know, and I'm not saying this is your situation, but our situation was very toxic with my upline, and that's done. And it was tough. They're constantly still trying to poach into my team, but we've created this great unity and culture and family environment. And we went through the fire with each other the last 7-8 months, and it's been amazing. So just know, like, if any of this resonates with you, I just want to say this at one time, because you're not alone. I'm still dealing with poaching attempts and all that. And we're just like, whatever. And it's just part of the business, unfortunately, but we've come out of it stronger. I just wanted to throw that in there because I know you guys have gone through some of that.
Yeah, I definitely think we're a lot stronger for sure. And we're so determined. I was talking to Rachel Wiggum and Patrice today, and we were just talking about how determined we are to get things going and to get our teams, you know, where they need to be, and just to be the examples. And I'm just really excited. It definitely was a difficult season for us, but many people didn't need, like the leaders, I think we talked about it like a couple of times, and then it was done. It was like, okay, we're ready to go. And we're going to keep going. So some of the girls on here are probably like, well, what happened? They probably don't even know what happened, because we
sorry.
No. There's nothing wrong with it, because a lot of people know now, but it's it's kind of one of those things where we just had to say, we're here, we're grounded, we're planted. We know why we joined this business. We know how close our team is. And I'll never forget, one of the girls was like, Jasmine, well, how do you feel? And I said, I feel good. Like, let's go. And ever since then, it was like, all right, let's get going. And I'm so proud of them because we really have not had like many people at all leave. I think it's been like 2 people that went over, but 2 people who were not working at all.
Yep.
So it really didn't really matter. So I'm just really thankful for the close-knitness that we have and just how hard everybody works, and everybody's just really committed to the team. Like, that's a true blessing. Very, very big blessing.
For sure.
Thank you for sharing that. Don't feel bad. Do not feel bad at all. So Trinita said, we're almost out of time. So she said, when you recruited for those months, how did you balance recruitment and LC enrollment?
Yeah. So this is not something I would necessarily recommend if you're if you're not through like the executive and Ruby stages. But once you're Ruby, if you're looking at Diamond and you want to go fast, like personally, I can't have my focus in too many areas. So it wasn't even a question of balance. I just literally, like, all of my posts, not all of my posts, because I mean, I had to put in some product posts, but my posting, like the real original posts, the messaging, the work that I did just when I was prospecting around, I was really focused on recruiting and like 95% of my energy. So like I was saying, I actually didn't even care if I end up being paid as a diamond or a double diamond during those few months. I was like, it'll all work itself out because I'm going triple. And so I was really trying to find new runners, build out and inspire the new people that were coming in, plug in some gaps, but largely I was building new sections of my team. And it ended up working beautifully because I did find, you know, not everybody that I signed up ended up being great, but you have the 1 in 5, 1 in 10 that are really special. And I was so focused on it that I was getting 1 or 2 of those a month. And that would take themselves to emerald or diamond. And that changed everything, where all of a sudden I had people popping emerald or diamond all over my team into early 2018. So that's my honest answer. I don't think that's necessarily the right approach if you're, excuse me, if you're just getting started in the business. You need to learn the customer side and get your customers. And honestly, customers end up being the best distributors. So half the time, but then at a certain point, that's what I did because I needed to.
Awesome. Very good. And so what is your favorite customer hosted post right now?
Yeah, so I experimented with the like different ones like coffee and cleanse and all that, but I have a weight loss one that like literally been using for 4 or 5 months. And it's, for me, I like using, sorry, my silly battery message is okay. I like doing weight loss ones because it just opens up like the whole product stuff for me. So it just says something pretty simple. And of course I'm happy to share the script, but it says something like, you know, my friend Mira is looking for, you know, 6 people that want to lose weight and by boosting metabolism and detoxing. And, you know, it says, you know, a couple other, the normal things, but then what I'll do is once I get hits on that, because it's weight loss, I immediately go to triple threat usually. Some people on my team like doing 15. I do triple threat because the BB is higher. And then, but I'll ask them some questions about their diet. So if their diet's pretty good, I may not suggest fat fighters. I might suggest like the cleanse or the probiotic, but always do the greens and thermophyte. And then I've also mixed in the coffee and stuff like that. But I start with triple, like I have just a real simple triple threat script that I start with. Mm-hmm. But like I said, if their diet is good, I might tweak that a little bit. And that's just been great. During that whole run in presidential, where I was literally just so focused on volume, more than I've ever been in my entire business. And I was at that point, I was full-time at work. So I was able to do host to post messages all day. I printed out my Facebook friends. And I got literally because we were doing a BB contest. So I was able to count it in real time. I got 5,000 BB myself personally in new loyal customers using that approach. And like every customer was like triple threat. So I was just getting 84, 94, 100 and and it just was great. So that's kind of how I've, use Toast to Post. And I'm kind of taking a break because you've got to be smart. Like, I know that I'm going to be running for ambassador in the spring. So kind of want to just build the network up and not be pinging them all the time. Mm-hmm. And so I'm really, again, back focusing on recruiting exclusively and looking at, you know, kind of building out different parts for ambassador.
Yeah, that's really good. So good, so good. Anybody else have, I was going to tell you, anybody else have any questions? If you do, you can unmute yourself or you can put it in the chat. But do you know about the quad?
I've heard that. What, remind me?
So it's a triple threat, but just with the detox cleanse.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Because we always, I know I do a lot of the weight loss Host to Post too. And, or I'll do the cleanse and I'll ask them if they're looking for just a detox or if they're looking for weight loss, and then talk about the quad. Most people want overall weight loss. And so that's been a good way to kind of upsell. But I haven't done triple threat in a while. It's really been the quad, or starting off with the cleanse and building from there. But I like that. Or I would do like Target Trio.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yep.
Focus on the midsection, yeah. Very cool. Anybody else have a question? Did you guys enjoy this?
Thank you so much. This is amazing. It's really good.
Yeah, you guys totally got this. And I will definitely share the other video that kind of takes through like much more tactical than we had time for today, about how I kind of pulled through these promotions.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Mira. You guys unmute yourselves and say, thank you, Mira.
Thank you, Mira. It was awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mira.
Thank you.
Well, we appreciate you so much. Is she still on? Or did she stop?
She's on.
Is she? I think she's on. No?
No, it says she left.
Yeah, she's left. Okay.